This week on the Road Unfiltered Podcast, we have Justin Mrusek. He has toured with Florida Georgia Line and is currently on the road with Jason Aldean. Dude, let's tell some stories, man.
Let's do it.
It's like we were just talking before we started like doing this, before we hit the record button. It's like we kind of don't like being on camera or hearing our own voices because we always want to be behind the camera.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
That's why we do what we do. You know, but dude, tell me where you came from. We've been doing this for such a long time, you know?
Yeah, I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio originally, Cincinnati area. And I actually moved to town 2008 or 9, and I moved here to be a songwriter.
Oh, wow.
Which I don't even know if you knew that.
You know, we've had some conversations
Maybe I've talked about
in
that.
the dressing rooms of the Aldean tour. And
So yeah, moved here, pursued that for a while. Actually started to get a little traction, was meeting with publishers and things like that. And through that, met the boys from FGL, which is how I got into the photo world.
Yeah.
Photo and video world. And
so did you always want to be a songwriter, like growing up?
I was always into music growing up. I played instruments, played
Right.
drums and piano and guitar.
Yeah.
And
Dude, same.
started
I did
getting
the same thing.
serious about it, like probably close to college graduation. But never, I went to school for business. So I didn't,
Yeah.
I didn't really plan on pursuing music.
Right.
And then after school, classic college graduate who doesn't know what the hell he wants to do in life. So I went back to Cincinnati, and I went on staff at a church, like playing music, playing worship.
No way.
Yeah.
What's your main instrument?
Drums.
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 Oh,
mainly.
wow.
Yeah. So started doing that, and then through that, I met a guy in town, this guy named Mark Calderon, and he was in the group. Do you remember the group Color Me Bad?
Yeah.
So he was in that group.
No way.
And yeah, he was like big writer. You remember their song, I Want to Sex You
Yeah,
Up?
totally.
And he was a writer on that.
Right.
So he kind of turned me and another buddy of mine onto the songwriting thing. Started teaching us a little bit about it. And so we did that with him for probably 2 years, but Cincinnati is obviously not the mecca of songwriting.
Right.
So he was kind of encouraging, like, hey, you either need to go to LA or New York or Nashville or New York, I guess. But between LA and Nashville just made the most sense economically.
Yeah.
And it was close.
And it was close.
To
it's a
home,
drive.
you know, 4.5, 5 hours to where I'm from. So I moved here and started pushing that, and then met the FGL boys. Through that, wrote with them back in the day, and then they put out Cruise, their first single, and it just was a rocket ship.
Changed country music.
So I just put a bug in somebody's ear at management. I knew guys that were managing them and stuff at the time through them, and I put a bug in somebody's ear and was like, hey, I'm a hobby photographer. I don't do this for a living, but if they ever need somebody, I met Monaco when they were opening for Luke. And so, like, I think just a couple weeks after I put the bug in the ear, they called me.
That's funny, man. So you never like really did a lot of camera work growing up or anything?
No.
Did you have like a passion at all for it? Or like
I took one class. So when I was in college, my senior year of college, as a business major, what my school did is the photography, like the head of the photography department would take business students, and then the head of the business department would take photography students, and they took a trip overseas every year for like a J term. So I went and did that, and we went to Ireland, and that was the first time I had ever held a camera.
Really?
Yeah. So, and I loved it. I mean, it was artistic. It was creative.
Man, especially like in Ireland.
Yes,
like such a photogenic country.
I think the first photo I ever took was the Cliffs of Moher. Wow. And I still have at home, I have the slide film from them.
You gotta get the thing blown up, man.
I know. I have hundreds of them from
amazing.
that trip. So yeah, I wouldn't say I like fell in love with it, but it definitely, it was intriguing.
Yeah.
So then I bought a camera after that trip. I bought my first digital camera. It was a Nikon D70.
Right.
If you remember those, the screen's about that big.
Yeah.
So bought that and then just kind of did it as a hobby. Never tried to do it for work. Never tried to get paid for it.
Yeah. That's how I was too.
Really?
Same way. Same thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Way back in the day. I mean, like, music videos was like my biggest thing. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
When I was like 14 years old, I was watching music videos going, holy shit, you could get paid for this and do this and be creative like this. I'm like, this is a cool thing, man. And I would like make my own music videos with little like VHS like cameras where you would have to like shoot a scene and then stop and then spread up the scene and then start filming again. We're just kids, you know, doing stupid shit, but it was cool.
Yeah.
But go on.
So yeah, they offered me a job, and at the time I was writing songs about 5 days a week and working at the Apple store in Green Hills.
Gotcha.
And
did you get the discounts?
Oh yeah. I bought an iPad right before I quit.
Right.
So they offered me a job, and I told them, I was like, hey, let me give Apple like 2 weeks notice. They were good to me. And so a week later I got on a tour bus for the first time. And
so was that their first tour that they did?
I would say first like major tour with a big act. They had done stuff before that.
Right.
And I actually played drums with them. Like,
no way.
Yeah, before the record deal and everything.
Yeah. So do you know Seth Costner, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because Seth would always tell me. Seth plays keyboards for Chris Young, and I traveled with him, and he would tell me stories about like the early days of FGL. You know. Yeah,
it was like him. He played quite a bit. I'm trying to think who else you might know. Daniel Shiflett.
Sounds familiar.
Plays bass for. Oh, I don't want to say the wrong name. Can't remember. Maybe Danielle Bradbury.
Gotcha. I don't know.
Or did for a while.
Gotcha. Huh.
Joey Hyde. He came and played guitar every once in a while.
That's so wild, man.
Yeah.
And when was it? That was like what, 2009 or
I would say 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Probably, because I think Cruise took off in 2012.
Gotcha.
And then I started with them late 2012, 13, right around there.
God, that changed everything, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that came out of the gate, and it was just like, what is this?
It was crazy.
It was wild.
It was crazy to watch, dude.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you know, at that, working with like a young artist like that that's just starting to explode, I think the first year, I think I was only home like 35 days the entire year. So a lot of it's kind of a blur.
Right.
Like everything's moving so quickly.
Exactly.
But just to get to experience that and watch the success of an artist
it's cool
take
to
off
see
like
it. It's cool to see it in like fresh eyes like that too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like you guys are all experiencing new shit at the same time.
Never seen anything like that.
Yeah. Because I remember when that hit, I felt like that was the turnover in country music at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I feel like there's something happened there where all of a sudden, okay, it's set up, 2012 and beyond to like it changed.
Yeah.
It was almost like you go back to like way back in the day where it was like when Smells Like Teen Spirit, Nirvana, when that like came out, it like changed everything for the 90s, and I felt like that's what that was with Cruise with FGL. But what was it like getting on a tour bus for the first time?
It's a little weird.
Right.
It's a little weird. I mean, it takes getting used to.
Yeah.
Even now, it's like, if we start tour in May or June, it's like, and I haven't been on a bus for a few months, and I get on the bus, you got to get your bus legs back.
Yeah. Do you sleep well on a bus?
It depends.
It's so hit and miss with everybody.
A lot for me, which I think most people would say, like the roads, the quality of the roads.
Yeah.
I feel like drivers at where we're at, it's like most of the drivers are going to be good.
Yeah.
They're all pros.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just the roads.
Yeah. Especially like a night through like Louisiana.
Oh, man.
The roads in Louisiana for some reason are like the worst.
I feel like East Coast roads too are rough.
Yeah. Yeah. But that experience of getting on, because it's funny because a lot of this podcast, I want people to look at this and go, man, these are great stories of like starting out. I want this to be directed towards people that want to do what we do. and to hear these stories about being on the bus for the first time or the etiquette and stuff like that. They get to learn this before they go, and they have like kind of a sense of like, what was it like for everybody else?
Yeah. Don't keep your stuff in the front lounge. Put everything in your bunk. Right. If you're not in your bunk, put your bags and everything in your bunk.
That's so true. That is like golden rule, man.
And then the shoe rule differs from bus to bus.
Yeah, it does.
Like our bus actually there's like a cubby under the bottom bunk, which I had never seen before last year. So your shoes can actually slide under the bottom bunk. But usually people put their shoes like lengthwise down the bus aisle.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that.
But some buses, if you do that, they don't like it.
I know.
I guess because people trip in the middle of the night or whatever.
It's true. It's true. What when you guys were starting out with the FGL dates and days back then, like were they playing like smaller shows, or was it like, did they just like go right into like amphitheaters and arenas?
No, so it was interesting because the reason we were gone so much is we were on the Luke Bryan tour, and we were first of 3 on that tour. So we would go do those shows, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
But then in between that, we were going and fulfilling dates that were booked, I don't know, maybe a year prior or whatever, that like club dates or like Billy Bob's or theaters, things like that.
Yeah. Not knowing, because I mean, what, a lot of tours are booked like a year in advance, with these artists. And the thing a lot of people don't know is that it is booked in a year in advance. But if an artist like blows up and these things are already booked, they got to go back to like the clubs and stuff. So I could,
Which is kind of cool though, because like being on a major tour like Luke, it's like they're out there getting all that fan exposure.
Yeah.
And then going back to the smaller venues. Like I honestly, I have moments even nowadays where I'm like, man, it'd be cool to go like do a show or shoot a show at a club with an artist that's kind of blowing up.
Yeah.
Because then you go and, it might only be, you're used to being in front of 20,000 people. And then they're in front of 2,000 people, but all 2,000 people are there for that artist specifically. Yeah. So it's just electric, and the energy.
And it's intimate too.
Yes.
I feel like the artist is like right there with the crowd, in those small places where it's like an arena, you're on a 6-foot stage and you're kind of back and there's like this 10-foot gap.
Barricades. And
exactly. Where it's like this club show. It's like you're all in there for that experience, That's wild.
It's cool.
But and then so they did the Luke tour. You were on that.
Yep.
And so, you're now a photographer on that tour. Like, what were you shooting with at that time?
That time I was on 5D Mark IIIs. And just trying to pick Monaco's brain all I could.
Yep.
All I could.
And a good one to pick the brain of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what a mentor to have, like,
he's awesome
as the headlining act and having him out there.
He helped me a lot, man, and he actually he directed a live music video for FGL and let me shoot on that, which was cool.
Amazing.
Like, got to experience that.
Yeah,
and work with him. He's awesome, man. If it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't still be doing it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, him and I have been friends for a long time. He's not out with Luke anymore.
He's not.
He got married and has kids now, and probably doing the family life. I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so. I think he still directs every now and then.
Yeah.
But there's a guy named Eder. Do you know Eder?
Yeah.
So Eder's out with him.
Yeah. I met him for the first time. He was Carrie did a show in Atlanta with George Strait and Willie Nelson.
Nice.
And he was just there as just like a fan. He just wanted to go see the show.
I think he lives there. He lives in Atlanta.
He does. Yeah. And he was out there, and we had a mutual friend on the Carrie tour, and we introduced each other, and we were talking, and you're Luke with Luke now. And
he's
we were talking
awesome.
about the Vegas residency and all that. So
I've worked a bunch of the festivals with Fly High.
Yeah.
And Eder was the editor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it was fun. He's fun to be around.
I think it's fun that, going to the Fly High days, it's like, a lot of people kind of circulated their way through there. Like Mason Allen was, editing there, and then he was editing, with Fly High, and like all these like kind of Tanner did some stuff with Tanner Gallagher did some stuff with Fly High. It's like it was really cool that a lot of it was just like this cool circle of filmmakers on the road, just kind of crossing paths and stuff like that.
Those things are fun too. I always enjoyed doing them, because if you're at a festival, you're there for the full 3 days.
Yeah.
But then we all know each other just through touring together over the years, so it's fun. Like each day, like you get to see a friend that you haven't seen for a long time.
Exactly.
It's a lot of fun.
It was really funny. The first time I had never done it like that. I've done Crash My Playa with Fly High. I did it for 2 years with them, and
they were just there.
Yeah, I know.
Last week or something.
Yeah, I know. God, what a great festival!
I know.
Too. Just
I know.
Mexico on the
Jason
beach.
did it like 2 years in a row. We were down there, and it was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I love that one. That's one I miss, man. I miss that one for sure. But I did a Boots and Hearts festival last year, and Chris Ashley had built a team to go up there and film the whole process. And it's like, that was the first time that I really like got to go and do like a country festival like that as just a video guy.
Yeah.
No photos, no nothing. It's like, get
and
your
not
Komodo.
having to edit.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of
nice,
dude.
Right? Like I was like sitting there going, okay, well I just shot. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
It's like now I get to sit around a little bit.
Yeah.
But that was the cool thing about that, because it's like, we have this like little community of photographers and videographers in Nashville, like you said, that travel. And like when you're at a festival, I was like sitting there going, oh my God, that's this guy. And we're all just like kind of broing it around the festival and just being like, oh my God, it's so cool to see you,
Right.
I think that was so much fun, and just to see that everybody's doing great, and being out on the road and getting the killer content,
right.
Yeah. So I kind of went off here, but
no, you're good.
but keep going with the FGL story as the progression happened.
Yeah,
because that shit got really big.
Yeah, it got really big. Yeah. I remember, Cruise, I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty positive. Cruise broke the record for, I don't know if it was some record like longest weeks at number 1 or something for a country song. Uh-huh. And we were on a show with Taylor Swift. And it was Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, and FGL. FGL was first of 3. We did 6 stadium shows with her.
Wow.
And even that experience, like just Cowboy Stadium, like AT&T, like walking into that place and being like, what?
Right.
Like, how do you sell that many seats?
You walk into that place, it looks it doesn't look real.
Massive.
You walk in, you're just like, holy shit, this place is huge.
So big.
Huge.
Not fun to do an award show at.
Right. It's like, how many miles do you get on that? We're walking around,
Enough. I think I've only had to do that once, the award show there.
Right.
But even, stadium shows in general are just like, those places aren't really built for concerts.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of moving around.
Yeah, it is.
I can't even imagine for the crew guys, like the push, like having to push all that stuff into the building. It's just like,
and just walking around. Crazy. You just see golf carts everywhere and bikes now. Yeah. And everybody's just trying to get
Sometimes they get stolen.
Yeah. Sometimes the photographers and videographers steal them too. I'm guilty of it.
Yeah. Ask forgiveness.
So, you moved from the Luke Bryan tour, and then they did the Taylor Swift tour.
That was like that might have been intermixed. I don't really remember it. Again, it's all such a blur.
I know.
I don't really remember all of it. And being new to it, we might have been partying quite a bit at the time.
As you should.
Makes it a little blurrier.
As you should.
But that was somewhere in there. And then the following year, they were 2nd of 3 with Jason, which is how I met Jason.
Gotcha.
And Brittany, his wife. But yeah, man, it was crazy to, like, Cruise just kept breaking records. And then it went diamond. And then, which was like unheard of in country music at the time.
Yeah.
I think a couple people had done it.
Yeah. Well, and it's probably crazy too that, like, with how massive and how big that got, with touring, I bet you found yourself in spots that you were just like, what am I doing here? Like meeting like people, like, cause I've told the stories about just like, I'm with, you know, an artist and it's like this so-and-so is over there. And I'm like, what is like legends or whatever?
That still happens to me all the time.
Right.
And as being a guy with the camera, it's like, I never want to ask for a photo with somebody.
Right.
But did just ask for my photo with Hulk Hogan like a month and a half ago.
Right.
I was like,
That's
I'm not
so
passing
funny.
this one up.
That's so funny because it's funny. That's how I am with country artists. It's like country artists and musicians. I'm just kind of like, I work with them, you know, I'm just like, whatever. But when it comes to sports,
the same.
I'm just
same
like,
here.
Dude, this is awesome.
And especially like I'm 5'8" and 140 pounds. Pro athletics was not in my future.
Right.
So to me, it's like,
yeah,
those guys are larger than life.
Yeah, and that's what I love. Like I did a Chesney tour with Billy Currington back in the day, and Chesney had like all these football players that would come out to the shows, and I'm just like sitting there going, oh my God, you know, I love this. This is cool. And I'm like, Kenny Chesney, who? What? You know, whatever. You know, I'm like, you know, Tom Brady. It's like, what? You see Tom Brady here? It's like crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. It is cool though. It's cool to meet those people, but like, I mean, I still have moments where I'm like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
and you got to kind of keep your cool too. You know, in your mind, you're just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like, you know, a lot of these, you know, these people that want to do what we do, you know, it's like, these are good little lessons of like, you know, you got to keep your cool. You got to like, you know, you got to be the fly on the wall. You know, you can't be the aggressive, like, I want to get my picture taken with you, or I want to, you know, and stuff like that. But it's like, you know, you got to be respectful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I always kind of live like by, which I don't know. This also could be, I'm more of an introvert.
Yeah.
But I just kind of like, don't speak unless I'm spoken to.
Right.
You know,
I'm the
like
same
even
way.
Hulk Hogan, like somebody asked, like, do you want your picture with him? I was like, yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm the same way. And I feel like, I agree, because I feel like the job that we do, we're kind of that fly on the wall.
Yeah.
We kind of have to be that introvert. We have to kind of stay a little bit quiet and let the artists do what they do, and we capture what they do.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, if there's somebody that's kind of doing it, but they're like being so talkative and like, you know, kind of in their face a lot, I feel like they're not really capturing the essence of what a real moment is. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I agree with that.
FGL like headline tours. When did that start?
Yeah, so that was probably, man, it happened fast. I would say late, like maybe 13, 14.
Gotcha.
Ish. Maybe
that
even
is
earlier.
quick, man.
Crews have been out like a year probably.
Wow.
And then they started, you know, smaller arenas. Not like Bridgestone size arenas.
Right.
But then it was like, I mean, once it went quick.
Yeah.
And then it was arenas, amphitheaters. We did some stadiums with Luke and Jason.
Yeah. Boy, what a bill.
Yeah.
God, Luke and Jason and FGL.
I think it was all three.
Yeah. I think so. So. We'd have to look that up.
Yeah.
Wild, man.
Yeah, you need a Google guy.
I know. I know. I sometimes I'll refer back to Dylan, or we had another guy here last couple of days. He couldn't make it today, but we're just like kind of, what was that again? What was that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was all three of them.
Yeah.
On stadiums.
Now, did you do like when they would do videos, would you go out and do like BTS stuff and stuff like that with them?
On music videos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
Cool.
I still do that, like with Jason.
Yeah.
I do that.
Yeah.
Which is also a good thing for younger guys coming in.
100%.
From a financial perspective, that's always built into a label's budget.
Yeah.
On a music video. So I think, you know, some people probably get caught up and they're like, oh, well, I'm this artist's employee, so I just have to go do this.
Right.
Which, if that's how your deal is, fine.
Yeah.
But maybe think about that.
Yeah, it's true.
Going into a deal. Because, like, in those BTS projects, like, for the work that's involved, some of them pay really well.
Yeah. Yeah. They do have a budget.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
It's good to, you know, get paid. If you can get paid for side projects that aren't necessarily part of your, if your contract is for touring events.
Yeah. That's how I always talked about, you know, whenever I would go and work like with an artist in a salary position, not like in a day-to-day position, but in a salary position, I would always make sure that, okay, this salary leans towards touring, photo, video.
Right.
But if there's like a BTS situation where there's like BTS of a music video, that's a whole different thing.
Right.
Or even a music video for the artist, that's a whole different thing.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like maybe an artist could take advantage of that, or management could take advantage of that. But I feel like that's always kind of the right thing to do when you do go and negotiate a salary position. You need to make sure some things are separate.
Sure.
You know?
Yep.
So, but that's good. That's good. And the BTS stuff is fun.
It's super fun.
I mean, I've been, it's like I direct music videos, but I still love going and doing BTS stuff.
Right.
There's a lot of directors that will just be like, I don't want to go do BTS anymore.
And I don't direct music videos, but I think through doing BTS,
you learn a lot.
I've learned that I don't actually want to direct music videos. I love the process. It's just not, my brain's just, I don't think wired to do that.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like everybody, are you going to direct music videos? And I'm like, I don't think I want to.
Would you ever?
Like,
if Jason was to come to you and be like, dude, let's go, would you do it?
I think I would do it, but I would want some help the first couple times around.
Yeah.
I would not be comfortable enough just throwing myself into that.
Would you do like a co-director situation or something?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I may love it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've done a couple like acoustic music videos for friends and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was fun. I enjoyed it, but I think I just don't know enough about like the whole crew like getting that whole crew, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Like I don't think, like, I've written treatments and stuff before, and that part of it to me is fun.
Yeah.
And to like see something come to life is fun.
Well, that's the great thing about, writing a treatment like that and getting the team behind you. You be the director, and you don't have to worry about the DP, or you don't have to worry about the lighting, because they got you. They got your back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you keep that creative in your head. That was one thing about Fly High. When I went on board with Fly High, Ryan Schmidt, he came to me and he's like, dude, you're directing, you're shooting, you're editing, you're color correcting, you're doing all this. He goes, dude, come on board and be just a director. Just direct.
Yeah.
Put your mindset in just directing. And that was very hard for me to do, to step out of, because I loved shooting.
Right.
And I loved editing.
Right.
And I loved coloring, it's like, so that was a good lesson. And I'm glad he did that and pulled that from me.
Yeah. Do you if you're directing nowadays, like, do you still shoot, like grab a camera occasionally?
Sometimes.
Just depends.
It depends, because I still love shooting.
I see. Yeah. I mean, I know certain directors, there's some directors that won't lift a finger to a camera. And then there's some, like, which I feel like if I were ever to do it, I would be the one that's active in it.
Yeah.
And if I see a specific shot I want,
I'm going
to go grab the camera.
100%. I feel like that's something like kind of like what Sean Silva does.
Yes, very much.
Sean will put a camera in his hand in a second.
Oh, yeah.
And get that shot.
Peter Zaffadil does that a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, I think some of the great directors are the ones that had the cameras in the hands.
Right.
They get the vision, because this is what it's about.
I also wonder, you think it's like more of an LA thing to not touch the camera?
I don't know, maybe it's the LA ego.
Sorry, folks from LA.
I'm actually from LA too.
I know.
but I
touch the camera.
I know I do. And I don't think I have that LA mentality though.
Yeah.
Because I started a little different. I started more doing, touring stuff.
True.
And then I got into directing.
Yeah.
It's like I always wanted to get into directing, but like I started touring first. And it's like I kind of like got my feet wet in a lot of different things first, but it could be an LA thing.
I don't know. I feel like I've just noticed. I've just noticed it more.
Yeah.
On LA sets.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like too, maybe the LA sets, maybe they have bigger budgets. Maybe they don't have to put they don't have to put a camera in their hands.
True. Very true. Well, and there's probably more, your pool of people that you're picking through that you're able to trust.
Yeah.
With the camera is probably a lot bigger.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like too, even, doing music videos, I feel like, everybody's kind of got their team.
Yeah.
You get comfortable with people that you work with, and you're like, damn, you wrapped that one, man, can't wait to do the next one with this same team. You know, it could be a completely different
it's like
video.
Silva and Keith are always like, Keith's always his DP, I feel like. Or at least has been lately. He's awesome.
I told you that Keith Lehman story.
No, I don't know.
It's funny, I told this story on one of the other podcasts, but Keith Lehman, great buddy of mine. Did I tell you the story in the dressing room?
You told me this, yes.
That I ran into him at a video shoot.
Yes.
For Billy Currington.
But you guys like had known each other since you were kids or something, right?
We've known each other since we were 14 years old.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy? I know. And then we were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, not the same thing, but just in the same
world,
industry, same world, you know? Because he did a lot of stuff in LA, and then he moved to Nashville, and then he just came out here and just crushed it.
Yeah,
and then obviously he was always, you know, he's one of the hottest DPs in Nashville. Yeah. You know, and such a good dude. Yeah. You know, he really is. He's got such a great heart, you know.
So friendly
Scary
to be around.
Shit looking.
He's way scarier than he actually is.
Exactly.
But he is one of the nicest guys on set.
Yeah.
Him and Silva both.
Oh, I know. I love Sean.
And Pinkston, Kristen Pinkston.
Yeah, Kristen's great. Kristen's
awesome.
Produced a couple of my videos. Yeah. And she's awesome. She's just so smart and just so cool. But Sean, I love Sean when I was on the Kenny Chesney tour. You know, he was obviously shooting a lot of Chesney stuff. And, you know, I'd see him around with a camera all the time, you know, and I admired that. I love that. You know, it was like, Kenny's got his guy, and that's Sean Silva. Yeah. But then he's also doing the music videos and all this, and it was just really cool.
Does he still does some stuff with Kenny? I feel like he did recently.
Yeah. I'm going to do some Kenny Chesney dates this year with Megan Maroney.
Nice.
So I'll probably see him out there.
Yeah.
I hope I see him out there. You know, he's cool. He did a Carrie Underwood video last year for Hate My Heart. I saw him on set, and it's just, you know, it's cool. It's a good it's a good circle of people that we have here in Nashville.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You know, you may go 7 years not seeing each other, but then when you do, it's just like you just saw each other yesterday.
Right.
You know.
Well, everybody gets touring is hard to explain to somebody that doesn't tour or never has toured, I should say.
Yeah.
But when you see your friends that also tour, it's like I can go a year literally without seeing. I mean, even the best man at my wedding plays bass for Luke Bryan, and like he played for FGL. He's actually the first person I ever met in Nashville too. Wow. I met him before I moved here, and then shout out Tom, he was very good at keeping in touch. I'm not so good at that. But he kept in touch with me even before I moved here, and then once I moved, we started hanging out, and then he ended up playing bass for Florida Georgia Line, so we got to go tour the world together for like 7-8 years.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And then now he plays for Luke, and I'm with Jason, so we don't see each other hardly ever, but when we do, it's like no time's passed. Yeah. That's awesome. That's the great thing about Nashville, man. I just feel like the relationships here are just so genuine. I always say that, you know, it's like, you know, your work and your work ethic and your passion will get you in. Your relationships will keep you here. Absolutely.
You know, that's huge here in Nashville. You know, everybody knows everybody.
Right.
You know, and it's like, you know, you do the work and you work hard and you put out good stuff. It's like you're going to get that call. Yeah. You know, from somebody that wants to have something shot or something, or video or a tour or whatever, you know. Yeah. That's what's so great about here. I love the community here. It's great. Cool. Yeah.
It is cool.
Yeah. I just feel like you don't get that in LA or New York or maybe in the rock or pop world. I could be wrong, because I've never been in it, but I just feel like there's something about the country music industry that's just different.
And there's so much talent, like even outside of like just like in our world. Yeah. Like obviously there's great musicians everywhere. There's great singers everywhere, great artists, but like in our world, like, and it's hard sometimes for me. Like I go watch stuff that Tanner did or
he's a beast, man.
David, what's David's last? I can never say his last name properly.
David, which one?
With Hardy, or no, sorry, with Morgan.
Oh, I think it's Lear.
Lear. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's on this too.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
nice.
coming. He's coming in on Thursday or Friday.
Dude, like his stuff. Like I go watch his edits, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
but I have to catch myself, because it's like comparison kills your creativity,
right?
But it's like hard to see it, and not
or it could inspire it too.
It inspires it, but it's like, some of his stuff is mind blowing.
I know. He's at the level of like, you know, like the Spencer Miller and
or Gibson Hazard, like borderline.
Exactly. And Rory Kramer.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. You know, I can't wait to get David in on this thing.
Yeah.
You know, because I've never met him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We've
awesome.
never had a conversation. And Chris Ashley hooked it up to where he's going to come in and sit down and talk about this, because I feel like it's the same type of thing, like with what you did with Florida Georgia Line, where it blew up. And it's like with David, with like the Morgan Wallen thing that's happening, and Morgan just blowing up, you know? So I think it's going to be kind of fun to have him on.
Morgan blowing up on a whole different level, dude. It's crazy.
See, and that's the cycle. I feel like FGL changed it back 12 years ago, 13 years ago, whatever it was. And now I think Morgan's changed it. It's like a whole new cycle. You know, it's like I feel like FGL was so huge. And now it's like you got Lainey Wilson, Jelly Roll, you know, all these people that are just, now it's like this almost like changing of the guard that's happening in Nashville again. Yeah. You know, it's wild to see it. You know, I feel like there's this like 11-year pattern that's happening. It's crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, watching... I mean, I've known Morgan was out with FGL back in the day. And then when I started with Jason and Britt, he was out with Jason.
Yeah.
Opening. And I mean, you could see it. Like as an opener.
Yeah.
I mean, if you went and watched, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like this is different.
Yeah.
Massive. And then now it's like
massive.
It's crazy. It's absolutely
so
insane.
Massive. I know. And Luke Combs, same thing.
Same thing.
You know, it's like Luke, Morgan, Laney, Jelly
even
Roll,
like
you know,
Bailey Zimmerman is kind of the same. Like popping
Nate
off.
Smith.
Smith.
Nate is hot, right? Nate's had. We're filming this in January. I don't know when this is going to air, but today it's January 31st. But it's like looking at Nate's World on Fire has been #1 for like 5 weeks right now.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. It's so crazy.
Zach Bryan.
I know.
Somebody told me he's selling stadiums.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. It's really funny because I think it was about maybe in the summertime, you know, everybody's talking about Zach Bryan, and I'm like, man, I've never even heard it.
Same here.
And then he put that song out with him and Casey Musgraves, and I was like, whoa. Okay. And then I started listening to other stuff, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I see what's happening here.
Yeah.
You know, there's something unique about it.
So does he still have no radio?
I have no idea. That is beyond my world, dude.
I mean,
I don't know.
Crazy.
I know. Isn't that wild?
And can go sell out a stadium.
I know.
I'd be curious, like how that... I've always been like, even though I'm in the photo video side of it, I'm always like, if I'm around managers and stuff, I always pick I just love the business. It's fascinating. Once you're in it, it's like, it's just so different than being a fan growing up as a fan of music. Once you see how it works, and I don't want to use the word contrived, but like a lot of it is kind of, it's not what it all looks like from the outside, which isn't a bad thing.
Right.
But I'm curious with like artists like that, like Zach Bryan, like the format has changed.
Yeah.
As far like now with like social media, even when I was with them, like in 2013, it's like social media was a big thing, which is, I think in essence, kind of what gave a lot of us and what we do an opportunity and a job.
1000%.
But it's like now, like these kids, some of these kids, younger kids are like that, no radio.
Yeah. No, I know. It's
like
wild.
you just get a viral hit that something strikes a chord with people, and then a million, you know, people make a video with that song on it, and next thing, like it's almost like an overnight success story. It's crazy.
It's like I feel like back in like 13.
I shouldn't say overnight. Obviously, those kids worked hard to get to where they are. I know some people don't like to be called that.
Yeah.
But on a commercial scale.
Yeah. I feel like back in like 2013 when like Instagram was starting to really kind of like, you know, I think Instagram came around like 10 or something like that, or something kind of in that area. But like, I feel like 13 is when the platform was really starting to like gain some really huge traction. So it's like you could see photos from a show, or you could see people posting stuff. But it's like, I feel like now it's all TikTok.
Yes.
Now TikTok has like become this platform of like labels finding artists.
Yeah.
You know, and having those built-in fans and those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and it used to be. I feel like YouTube was kind of a resource for them back in the day, but now it's like, oh, now you can go see a 30-second to a minute, a verse and a chorus, and we know.
Yeah.
We know if we're interested.
Yep. I know. Isn't that wild how it's like I feel like when we would do like recap videos like back years ago, how like a recap video would be like 6 minutes long.
Yeah.
And then it was like 3 minutes long. And then like it went down to like 15 seconds long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's just like the attention span of just like you could just scroll. You could just go. You know,
we keep
go
all
to
of
the
ours
next, go to the next.
under a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
And some of them are 30 seconds. Some of them are 45 seconds.
Yeah, because it's, you know, you gotta grab that right off the bat for people to watch, and if you don't, they're on to the next one. You know, the next artist. Let's look at this one. You know, but what a wild world it is.
It's
right?
crazy.
I know this life is just wild.
It's fun to see it change though, and like to try to figure out how to adapt and talking to other people like, what are you doing now? That's like changing it up and like inspired by other people, what we were saying, like watching other people's videos and getting ideas and like it's fun to be a part of it.
Like Tanner does some fantastic work out there, you know, and David's work is great. And Timothy, do you know Timothy Heel?
Oh yeah. I worked with him at the Apple store.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Dude, he's a trip, man.
He's awesome.
I love him, dude. He's like a sponge, dude.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we went and had coffee one time. We were just talking shop, you know, and it was just like, he's going to be on this podcast too.
Nice.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Board, you know, but he's super crazy, great editor, man.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like, God, you know, it's so funny. I've been doing this for so long, and I look up to these kids doing this stuff. You know what I mean? It's
we're the old guys
I know.
now, which is like so bizarre, but like you feel like you're never, especially doing what we do. It's like, I'm going to be young forever.
I know.
And then it's now I look at like guys like Tanner and David, and I'm just like, dude, you are killing us. Like, they're young. They think differently. It's like we were there one time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It is cool, man. It's cool to see kids like grasp onto it and just kill it.
Yeah. So how many FGL tours did you do? When were you up?
With them till? I worked with them through, I think, April of 2009, if I'm not mistaken.
2009 or 19?
19, sorry.
Gotcha.
Yeah. 2009.
It's all good.
Like they didn't exist yet. 2019. So I don't know how many tours that is. A lot. A bunch. But
so you were there for a very long time.
Oh yeah, man.
Like, it's not necessarily like a very long time. It was just you were there for like a lot of the huge stuff that was going on with them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Because they were like winning every award.
All the award shows. Yeah.
Were you allowed to do all that stuff?
I've been kicked off of a couple red carpets.
Right.
I have. Which now they're actually credentialing us for those things,
I know, right?
Which is nice.
I know.
I told them that at the last ACMs. I literally, I went, I did the regular artist check-in, and then I went to the videographer photo pass check-in. And I was like, wait, so we can shoot now? And they gave me like the stuff to read. Here's your stipulations. Here's what you can and can't. And I told them, thank you. I was like, thank you for finally doing this.
I love that.
Like, I do too. Because then it's like, okay, now we're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was like,
I know.
It was weird because we would get in trouble. We'd get yelled at for having our camera.
Yeah. Well, it's cool. It's like it's almost like we're finally getting recognized in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, I remember when the ACMs opened that up.
Yep.
I think it was a couple years ago or something.
Yeah.
And I was with Chris Young at the time, and they're like, yeah, you can shoot at the ACM now. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, for so many years, we haven't been able to do this, you know? And it, it's like,
and I get the licensing thing. I understand. It's like, they're paying for the venue. It's a licensing issue and branding and the networks and all that. But I always struggled with it because to me, I'm thinking, as I'm getting kicked off of a red carpet, I'm like, this is so stupid. We're all on the same team.
Right.
Like we're all promoting, like self-promoting each other.
Yeah.
So it's like, what?
Yeah.
And finally, I don't know how it came to fruition, but they're finally doing it.
Yeah. And it's great too. It's like the, CMA with the touring awards, how there's a photographer, videographer of the year award now, which is rad.
I know.
It's like, finally,
I know.
That they
Who
get
won that this year? Do we know yet?
No, I don't think they're until February. Yeah, February 12th, I think they are at. But by the time this podcast airs, we'll know who won. But that's really cool. And then CMA, the touring awards actually broadened it even more to where it's like techs, guitar techs, and stuff like that. And that's really cool, because we're all out there. We're all, getting dirty out there and,
and it takes all those people. I know, like, ultimately, we used to say, like, everybody's replaceable except for the guy's face on the semi-truck.
Yep.
Which is a fact.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it does take a lot of people to make a show happen.
1,000%.
It takes a lot of people. And that's one thing fun about having my parents, like, come to a show, my mom and dad, like, they're used to just seeing it from that side. So, like, my dad, like, geeks out. He's, like, looking at all the lights, and he's like, it's crazy they set this up every day. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you should see them do it. It's like, I mean, they start at 7 a.m. They're in the building chalking the floor.
Yep. Dude, that's my favorite thing to do when I'm on an arena tour. I love getting up, going into catering, grabbing a coffee, and just going and sitting out in the arena,
just
in
watching.
the bowl. Because what I'll do is I'll go out in the arena and I'll just kind of go like study like where I could like walk up, because some hockey rinks in there. It's like you can't go this way, you can't go this way, and the steps go weird this way.
Yeah.
But I love just sitting there and just hearing the chains, people running around, calling it out, people in the ceiling dropping chains. You know, it's like
it's fun to record it sometimes. Use it as like audio.
Yeah, there's something just kind of cool about it, because it's like you think to yourself, in 12 hours from right now, this whole building is completely different.
Yep.
There's a stage, there's lighting, there's 20,000 people.
And most of those 20,000 people have no idea what it looked like this morning.
Exactly.
They think it was just here.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, which is crazy.
I know. It's so wild. But I find that like just kind of like my, my morning kind of routine, and just like, there's just something about it, man. I do it all the time. And I sometimes I feel bad because I'm just sitting there having a coffee when all our crew friends and stuff are just working their asses off, putting speakers up in the air,
Well, as my boss says, is you stood in the wrong line on career day.
Or the right one.
Or the right one. No, you say that to them. If they get mad at you for sitting there.
Totally.
Not my fault you chose that line on career day.
Exactly.
That's wise advice, too, what you said about walking the venue.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. I learned that later, but I do that now, where I try to walk 2 miles every day.
Yeah.
And in an arena, it's awesome because I just go up and make laps and laps and laps.
Yeah.
Track it on my watch, but it's good to know your like entry and exit points.
Yeah, it's true.
Because when that place is filled with people, it's not always easy to find. It's dark.
Yeah.
So it's good to know where you're at, kind of.
Yeah. And there's buildings sometimes, I mean, a lot of times now, that you repeat and you kind of know the building again. Yeah. But it's like in those brand new buildings, it's like, you need to kind of know where you're going to go, and you're not falling over people. Because, being a photographer, videographer, you want to be as discreet as possible and not get in the way of the crowd and stand there for 30 seconds in front of somebody. Yeah, and if you are, move quickly. Yeah, because they will yell at you.
Yeah. Same thing with going on stage, I would say. Yeah. Like, I don't do a ton on the stage anymore as much as I used to, but it's awesome because it is a very different perspective than what the crowd gets to see normally. Yeah. But it's one of those, like, sometimes you'll see guys that like they're just out there floating for like 5 minutes, and I'm like
Tanner.
Yes,
Tanner.
Yeah, Tanner, if you're listening to this.
But it's rad because he's
keep
like
doing you, buddy.
Yeah, because he's kind of like a part of the show.
Yes,
and people know him for being his videographer, and he's getting the content,
and it's good,
and it's very good.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
but that's one thing that I love about the perspective of being on stage, because when an artist does post something, and use that content from the stage, it's such a unique perspective that they don't get to see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel like Monaco kind of put that into existence almost.
Yeah.
Him and his glide cam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I still rock a glide cam because of Monaco. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm better with it than I am a gimbal.
Really?
Yeah. I'm terrible with a gimbal.
I went gimbal. I tried the glide cam and I just couldn't get it, man.
I think when I switch to the R's, like something lighter, I'll probably do it.
Have you not done the switch yet?
No.
Oh,
I know. I'm gonna run my cameras into the ground. It's just like, they're working for what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I am about to buy a new laptop though, which is a fun expense.
Yeah. Right off, dude.
I know.
It's all right off.
But it's crazy when you see the prices of those Apple laptops now. It's like, whoa.
I know. I just bought a new one.
What'd you get?
I got the new 16-inch. What is it? The
M3
Pro
Max
3 or
That's
whatever
what I'm looking
it is.
at.
Yeah.
It's like 50. What?
It was like $5,000.
Yeah.
But
That's what I'm looking at.
I decked it out, but you gotta. I mean, you have to have it.
I know.
Especially for video editing.
I know.
And if you're editing 4K and
it's like
8K,
128 gigs of RAM.
That's what I've got.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm looking at.
It's funny. I haven't done
$5,300 or something. It's crazy for a computer.
I know. Get that Apple card, dude.
Yeah.
Just paid, $300 a month on it. But yeah, I know it's.
Do you have it already?
Yeah, I got it.
Is it screening?
Well, I haven't been able to really do a project yet on it because it's been kind of dead, you know, in January. But it's like this podcast, I'll probably edit with it. And,
I'll be curious to see.
We're shooting everything 6K, VR.
Yeah.
Like 3 cameras in here, so it's like it.
I've heard it just eats it, like it's like no contest.
Yeah. And then I started using those new SanDisk mags for hard drives.
What is it?
They're these new just like 4 terabyte mags.
Is it just plug right into the port?
You get a little you get a port with it, and then there's another port that you could get 4. You could put 4 in there. So if you get
4 terabytes a piece?
4 terabytes a piece.
Because I'm about to buy new hard drives.
So you could do 16 terabytes, and it's all SSD.
No
SanDisk.
way.
If you're listening to this, I just promoted the shit out of you because that it's fast, dude. Dylan knows. I copied 2.5 terabytes of footage to another mag card in under like 20 minutes.
No way.
That usually takes like 8 hours.
What is it called? After we're done, will you send me a link?
Yeah.
Because I literally was looking at hard drives yesterday.
Yeah. SSD is definitely, I feel like, is the way to go.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll never go back.
Yeah.
I'll still back up like at the end of a year.
Exactly.
I'll back up to a big,
that's what I do.
Standard old school hard drive. But like, just because they're cheaper to buy, like massive size.
Yeah.
But the SSDs for editing.
Yeah. That's a good conversation to have. I haven't had that yet. Like people that want to know, what to use out on the road, SSDs are the way to go.
For two reasons. They're faster and they're
super
so
fast.
Small.
Yes.
They're easy to travel with. Remember, everything you take, you got to carry through an airport, on a bus, into a venue every day.
Yeah. And you could get 4 terabyte ones for like under $300 now or something like that.
Do you always buy SanDisk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
I've only had one problem with one of them.
I never have. I was looking at Crucial as well.
Yeah.
But honestly, the price difference is probably under $50 difference.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know, SanDisk is such a name, like brand recognition.
Yeah.
But
and then OWC. Have you heard of those?
Yeah.
Have you used those?
I haven't used them.
Yeah.
I've heard about that too.
I've never used it.
I don't know. I feel like when you find your kind of like line of hard drives, it's that trust thing again.
Yeah. I was about to settle. I picked out some Crucial drive. And Crucial, do you know Crucial?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
They used to make, so they kind of started like back in the day when you could replace your own RAM on Macs. That was like the big company that everybody bought like updated RAM from. So you didn't spend the Apple money that they charge for RAM. But now it's all soldered to the motherboard. So you have to buy it when you get the computer. Good decision, Apple.
They got smart.
But yeah, so it's like reputable. And I was about to try them, but I want to look at that thing you were just talking about.
Dude, it's awesome. Because the thing is, you buy 4 of them, you got 16 terabytes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a tour, man.
Yeah,
easily. If you exactly. And then just get an 18 terabyte drive and just back it all up.
Yeah.
But But it was wild just the other night when I was copying over a lot of this footage. It was just like 2.5 terabytes in under 20 minutes. I was like, damn, that's fast.
That's so fast.
Yeah. So if I sell any from this podcast, SanDisk, give me some free shit.
Yeah. Add dollars.
Right. So then, you did all the Florida Georgia Line stuff.
Yep.
You moved on from that.
Yep.
And then tell me about how you got with Jason and Brittany and all that and what you do with them.
So I met them obviously through touring. And then years ago, when I was still with FGL, the guys used to like go out to Sun Valley, Idaho. It's where Tyler's wife is originally from.
Gotcha.
And they used to rent this sick house out there. Just like a vacation thing,
right,
or whatever. And they would invite me and I would come and shoot and kind of just like fly on the wall, kind of behind the scenes photos of them hanging out and whatever. Well, Jason was out west on tour, but had a break, had time off. So him and his wife, Brittany, came for, I don't know, they probably came for 2 or 3 days. And I was just kind of there doing my thing and didn't act weird, I guess. And we all hung out and I was shooting photos and stuff like that. And then, so that's how I kind of like got like, I guess our relationship started. Cause like touring, it's like, I'm not hanging out with Jason. Like he's doing his show. I'm working the FGL show, whatever. I mean, they knew who I was through that, but, so that's kind of how we got to know each other. And then I became good friends with somebody on Jason's tour, when we were with them. And once I was like, kind of in the freelance space and not with FGL anymore, I just kind of sent feelers out to all the people I'd met over the years and just said, hey, I'm looking for work.
Yeah.
I'm freelance now, whatever. And they hit me back. The person from his tour hit me back and was like, hey, would you ever be interested in working for Jason's wife, Brittany? So I was like, heck yeah. And it's kind of a change.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's, you can get a little jaded after shooting the same show for
100%
how many years, but there's a nice change of pace, and it was more like the influencer space and what she does with brand partnerships and things like that. So I worked for her for, I guess, started in 19, probably about 6 months after the FGL thing came to a close.
Yeah.
Started with her and worked for her for 3 years. And then I was also doing Jason. So it's more, I guess I work for like the Aldean family essentially.
Yeah.
Because I do everything from like this Saturday, I'm going to shoot Navy's birthday party, like their daughter's birthday party.
Yeah.
And I've shot like countless family events and parties they have. And then if they go to Disney, I'll go and take photos of that. Or if there's a certain trip or vacation and they want me there, I'll go do that. And then I also go on the road full time with Jason now. So
does your wife ever go with you when on those things?
She will go. So typically they're so freaking generous. At the end of the year, they'll do like a family vacation with their families. And they have, for the past 2 years, invited me and my wife, Hannah.
Amazing.
So like this past year, we went to Mexico, Punta Mita. It's like Puerto Vallarta area.
Gotcha.
Stunning, like so beautiful. Like this awesome house on the water with mountain. Like it was so beautiful. But they take us, and it's like, it's so much fun. Yeah. So much fun. I work a little bit, but it's like an end of the year kind of. Such a blast. It's one of those. So much
goes
fun.
back to that moment of like, where am I?
Yeah, constantly.
What is
like,
life, man?
Those are the moments that, like getting jaded on the road. It's like you're gonna have moments.
Yeah.
Where you're living on a tour bus, you're sacrificing being away from. If you're married.
Yes.
If you're young, I recommend waiting until your artist slows down in schedule a little bit to try to have a relationship.
Yeah.
It's next to impossible.
Yep.
Just because you're gone so much. But yeah, what were we talking about? I just lost my train of thought.
Going into the Brittany and Jason world.
Oh yeah.
But
so they'll take us. We went to Telluride a couple years ago and went skiing and stuff. And they always invite Hannah, and just like super generous. They don't have to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't expect that at all.
But that's so great though, man.
But
those are the people you want to be around.
Yes.
And work hard for.
Yeah.
It's like, that's that's it. You
Right.
know, that's really, really great.
Yeah. That's
you
fun.
know, it makes it fun for you. And especially like if your wife could go, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah.
like, you know, my wife, Cassie, CJ, she, you know, she gets it. She understands. Like, she knows that I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks at some times.
Right.
But she knows the perks of it.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh, I'm in Vegas for 3 weeks. Oh, cool. Just come on out.
Right.
Come hang in Vegas for
Right.
a week. You know what I mean? Or I'm going to be in a city for 3 days. Come on out. You know,
Right.
there's perks to it. And then it's like, on the flip side to that as well, it's like, oh, you're off for 2 months? Let's go take a vacation.
Exactly.
You know, it's
which
not
you guys just did.
Dude,
Where all did you go?
Man, we flew, we took the longest flight in the world as of right now, which is Newark, New Jersey to Singapore.
How long?
18 hours.
Ooh. Good Lord.
But if you do that, you fly business class.
Yeah. Did you have a pod?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to do
the
it.
lay flats.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We got into Singapore, and then we stayed a couple days in Singapore just to kind of reacclimate, because it's like, it's the other side of the world, you know, and the jet lag is brutal.
Oh, yeah, I imagine.
So brutal. And then we went up into Thailand. The second time we've been to Thailand. Second time we've been to Singapore as well.
I want to go to Thailand really bad.
We love it so much. I would move there tomorrow if I could.
Where all did you go?
So we flew from Singapore to Chiang Mai, which is north.
Yep.
And it's inland. It's not like a beach, you know, a beach area or anything like that. And Chiang Mai it's old. It's an old city, but it's beautiful.
Is it like jungle?
No. It's more of like, it's kind of city, but it's like really small, no big building. There's a couple big buildings, but it's not like, but it's very rich in like their old school culture.
Okay.
And the food is incredible.
I bet.
Like, I got some food stories for you here in a sec of Thailand. But we did like 3 days in Chiang Mai. And we'd been to Chiang Mai before, and we just loved it. We had to go back. We wanted to see a little bit more of it because we were only there for like 2 days before. Yeah. So we went for 3 days this time just to kind of like experience it a little bit more. And then we went from Chiang Mai down to Koh Samui, which is an island. And we have a family friend that lives in Koh Samui, and we didn't see them, but they live there, and she swears like she lives there, I think like 6 months of the year, and then lives in the U.S. on the other 6 months of the year.
Man.
Yeah, but Koh Samui, CJ and I, we're like, now this is the place where we would move to.
Yeah.
It's stunning. And apparently Koh Samui is the new location of where they're shooting the new White Lotus show.
Really?
Yeah. So, but we were in Koh Samui for a while, and then for about 3 days there, and then we went from Koh Samui to Railay Beach, which is we're working our way south, and we went to Railay Beach. We've been to Railay Beach, which is kind of like a total hippie town, but it's super teeny tiny, small, like literally like one walkway through all these stores and shops and hotels, and it's like it's amazing. And then we went down to the PP Islands. We've been to PP Islands twice. This is our second time that we went down there.
How long were y'all over there?
3.5 weeks.
Which is probably what you want to do if you're taking a flight.
You have to.
That's that long.
You have to. You gotta take like a 3.5 week, 4 weeks or something like that. But we did PP Islands, and we kind of like made our way from PP to Phuket. But then the big trip after that is we went for my birthday and our anniversary. We went to the Maldives.
Did you stay in a hut, like one of those water?
We stayed in one
things?
of those over the water at this place called Patina, and it was unbelievable. Like the most gorgeous place I've ever been to in my life. Like the water was so clear. And
was there glass floor anywhere?
No. We didn't have the glass floor like in the room or anything, but we had our own pool. We had our own like little sitting area. It was all super private. You're just over the water. It was the best trip I've ever had.
That's awesome.
But dude, you have to go to Thailand.
Yeah.
The food in Thailand, it's like there was one time, the last time we were there, we always told this story after the fact, but it's like we went to Phuket, and like you could go to a night market where they serve just all this fresh food that they just caught that day. And that's how they eat out there. You know, everything's super fresh.
Yeah.
And we literally would get like We got like 2 plates of pad thai. We got like all these like dumplings. We got like these coconuts with like fresh coconuts that they cut open, throw a straw in. We got these big beers and all this. $9.
Yeah. I've heard that.
$9.
A friend of mine just went there probably within the last year, and they FaceTimed us like from their hotel. And when I say from their hotel, it was like this like sick, like suite. And he was like telling us the price per night.
Probably
and I
like
was
$200.
What?
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
He said it's so affordable once you're over there.
It's like you'll pay, $800 to stay at Hampton Inn in downtown Nashville, and you could stay in this luxury place in Thailand for $200
with like butlers and
exactly.
Crazy.
Dude, you gotta go, man. Take the wife and go, dude. It's so.
So do you always connect in Singapore?
We connected in Singapore because it's just we had done that before.
Yeah,
and it's easier because I felt like it was just one shot. It was like New York to Singapore instead of, because you could go Nashville to LA to Japan to and make your way, and next thing you know you're 48 hours of travel to get there.
Yeah, that's rough.
But you do that one shot and it's like you're there in 18 hours.
Yeah,
the
laydown is definitely the way to go,
dude. Yeah, I know. And we flew Singapore Air, and they're apparently rated the number 1 airline in the world, and the food is incredible. It's like there was a time, the first time we ever flew down there, we flew business class down there. And it's like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this.
Right.
Right. And we were just about to land in Singapore. I'm like, shit, let's go around the world again. Let's just keep going. This is luxurious. This is awesome.
Yeah. I went to Africa a couple times, and one time I flew coach, and then the other time I flew in one of those pods.
Huge
and it
difference.
Made a massive difference.
Massive difference.
Yeah.
Because we did it when we did the Singapore, because we did, on the first time we went, we did New York to Singapore, and then we flew back and did Singapore to New York. But when we did the coming back, we flew coach for 18 hours.
Yikes.
And we were miserable.
Yeah.
Like, I think I got like 3 migraines.
Yeah.
It's just like, it was because you're just in a normal seat,
right?
But for 18 hours,
that's a long time.
Yeah.
I've done that to and from Australia a couple of times, and even that one is rough.
That's why I always say, like, when you do this for a living, and you travel a lot, you got to get the mileage programs, and you get all the mileage. You got to get all the the Hilton and the Marriotts and all that stuff, because you get all those points from purchases that the artist or management make for you.
Especially flights, because you rack up, especially in the early days, you're going to rack up a ton of miles because you're flying coast to coast constantly for media.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff.
And I always say that if a flight is over 6 hours, I always try to upgrade.
Yeah.
Always. And you can, because you've got so many points, or it could be cheaper, to upgrade.
Yeah.
Upgrading at the airport before you get on, sometimes it's a quarter of the cost.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that is key. I didn't even think about that, but like definitely get every airline you can think of.
Exactly. It's huge.
Yeah.
But dude, go to Thailand.
I want to.
You have to.
That'd be awesome.
So the first Aldean tour, working for Aldean.
Yeah. I'm trying to, my very first show, I think was Charlotte, if I remember correctly. Because Brit's from there, and her,
gotcha.
I remember her family.
Yeah.
And Navy was a baby. In Memphis, I mean, they were tiny. The kids were tiny. And that was 19.
Gotcha.
19. And then, like when I was, because being full-time with Brit initially, I wasn't always on the road.
Right.
So if she was out, I would go, and then every once in a while, if like management or like, a vendor, the lighting company or something is like, hey, can we hire you to come shoot wides to show the whole set or whatever, then I would go out and do stuff like that. But now I'm out there full time.
Yeah.
So every show.
It's amazing. Do you love it?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
We're so lucky, dude.
I know.
Right?
And it's
such a great crew too, man. I love the Aldean crew.
Yes, they're awesome.
You got Silver out there all the time, hyping everybody up.
It's so fun, dude, and just good people. And it's also like they've been doing it for so long together.
Yeah.
So many of those guys have been there for so long.
Yeah.
And it's just well oiled, and it it just works.
Yeah.
It works.
I remember when I was out with Keith Urban back in, I think it was like 2008 or something. Aldean was opening for Keith.
Really?
Yeah. When he was like
no way.
Tractor and you know and all that stuff, man. He was brand new.
That's awesome.
And I remember seeing Aldean's show when he opened for Keith, and I'm like, dude, this guy is gonna be huge.
Yeah.
He's going to be huge. And look at it now.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And kind of had, I mean, not that he ever fell off or anything, but almost like another resurgence this past year.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, it's crazy to me. I have to count my lucky stars, because it's like I went, working for FGO, who was obviously this massive thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like for anybody to have that opportunity once in their life is like a dream come true.
Yeah.
And then now to think like I'm working for another A-level act that's like, I mean, Jason, like at this point, knock on wood, but like he's a legacy act in a sense where it's like he's had so many hits and so many number ones now that, I mean, I feel like he could tour as long as he wants to at this point.
Well, that means you're doing something right though, too.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be.
Yeah, I hope so.
You're still there. The stuff is killer.
Thank you, dude.
I loved being out there with you guys last summer. I got to go out and shoot a couple shows and just kind of, you were probably like, what the fuck is Joe Johnson doing?
I don't react that way. Other people are like, wait, is that weird that like Jeff's here? And I'm like, no, it's awesome. I'm excited to see Jeff. I haven't seen him in a long time.
It was fun, man, because it's like that was the first time I've ever really gotten to shoot a Jason show, and it's, it's different when you go in and just shoot a show or two that, obviously somebody like you probably were at production rehearsals. You probably saw it all get put together and you were able to see the rehearsals and see opening night, and you've learned the show.
Yep.
And it's like I went in there, you guys were probably 2 months deep already at that point.
Oh yeah.
And I go and I don't know the show.
Right.
So it's challenging.
It is.
It's a little challenging because you want to know where like the hits are, where the big bright things that happen and stuff like that. And it was kind of cool because I walked in and I'm like, dude, I need some notes.
Yeah. Which is awesome though. Yeah. Like our community it's cool that, if I were to go out on another show and I know the photographer, it's a nice thing to be able to go, hey, is there pyro? Yes. When is it?
Yeah. And where not to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Where's your production manager? Where's your stage manager?
Exactly. Because there's a lot that I've gone in blind and I'm just like, all right, here we go. Let's see what happens. But having you there and be able to go through the set list and you're like, dude, this is where he's going to do this here and he's going to do that there. And there's going to be this video wall thing. And it'd be cool to get that. And, that was fun, man.
Which is crazy. Like that you even shooting the show so much, it's like you don't realize how much of it you actually. I feel like I missed I don't watch the show, like I'm doing my job, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like I feel like I miss it.
Yeah.
But it's like you're not really missing it, you're just capturing on it. You're watching it through your camera.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you're still getting.
I know. There's times where I wish I could like just sit back and watch a show, and see it.
I have actually done that, like if I on a weekend, if I'm like, okay, I'm confident that in the first 2 nights I got everything. Mm-hmm. I'll make myself kind of step back. I'll still shoot, but I'll just be like, okay, I need to pick this shot up. Or if I like for a video or something, I'm like, I need to get this shot. I need to get this shot. I need to get this shot. And then I'll make myself like go spend a little more time at front of house. I'll still have my cameras in case something out of the ordinary happens, but just pay more attention and be like, okay, what are some things maybe I missed during this song? Like stand there for one song without putting my camera to my face.
Exactly. Because you could be shooting one thing on that one song all the time. But there could be something going on over here, or it could look cooler wide. It's like you got to kind of train your brain to think what you did last night and what to get the next night.
It's easy to get buried in the back of your camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of lose sight of the whole picture.
Yeah. I feel like whenever we do like production rehearsals for a tour or something, I like to, they always, they always want you to shoot production rehearsals and, things that are going on. But like I try to take a step back a little bit from shooting just so I could kind of see what's going on, so I could get the best stuff, when we finally do hit the road,
right.
So, but yeah, that was fun, man.
That was cool.
I want to come back out this
Where'd
summer.
you come? What cities were you in?
I was in.
I remember the venue, but I can't think of.
It was Detroit and Chicago.
Detroit, that's right. Yeah. Detroit was the first one.
Detroit was the first one, yeah.
Which that venue's not
tough,
the most
man.
enjoyable to shoot.
Dude, that's Pine Knob.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it was Old Pine Knob or something like that. I don't know. DT
that venue's
now
very
or something.
tough.
That's a tough one, man.
Remember, you can't get in the barricade?
You couldn't.
Like the barricade's like up against the subs.
Yeah.
There's no way to get up against the stage.
That was a tough
show. And then
show.
Tinley Park the next night is like one of the best in the country to shoot, I feel like.
I know.
I remember us talking about that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because that Detroit venue is, it's the amphitheater in Detroit, outside of Detroit. And it's so difficult. The steps are so huge. Remember that? I remember that. And like trying to get down and like trying to get over, and you couldn't get through, and you had to go up, and you had to go around, and you had to go down, and all this.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
But that Chicago one, and you guys didn't have, you guys did not have
no thrust.
Yeah, there was no thrust on the first show that I did. And then on the second one, it was like so massive and so deep and so wide, and the stage was so huge,
Yeah, Tinley's awesome.
I love that place.
That place is
cool.
great. What's your favorite venue in the whole country?
Oh, man.
Not from shooting standpoint, just in general, like...
Man, Watershed?
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Watershed's cool.
It's beautiful.
It is stunning.
There's something about that place in the summertime. I mean, the festival. What's the festival? Watershed.
Watershed, yeah.
Yeah. Watershed Festival that BOC puts together.
In George, Washington.
Yeah, exactly. Right. The city of George in the state of Washington.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love Red Rocks.
Yeah. Red Rocks is cool to shoot.
Yeah.
It's not fun getting in and out of the venue.
It's not. Crews hate that.
Yes.
Because
they have to fork everything up that hill.
Yeah.
They can't get trucks up there.
I know. It's
even buses can't go up. I mean, the buses are all, you got to walk all those ramps, and at altitude, you get up there, you're like...
Exactly. But Watershed Red Rocks are great. They're two of my favorite outdoor. I like Jones Beach in New York for some reason.
Yes. I like the way it's so steep.
Yeah.
And you like, especially shooting from the stage perspective.
Yeah.
Is really cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there when it's flooded?
No.
I haven't either. Everybody tells me about it though.
The clearances are tough there too.
Yes.
Can't shoot video.
I know.
Shoot photos.
You know what I did there one time? This is funny. Because of that, they were like, you can't shoot video. I was like, all right. So I was shooting Fuji at the time, and these things would shoot these little, it was like X23s or X24s or something, and they would shoot like some ridiculous frames a second in photos. Right. So especially if you put an electronic shutter.
Yeah.
And so I just shot everything electronic shutter and just made a stop motion video.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
I was like, there's not a single frame of video in it.
Exactly. Just cheating that system, man, making it work.
That rule used to drive me crazy.
Oh, man. I know. It's a union thing.
And I was told it's like, somebody told me, they're like, well, they say that the unions like you're taking a union person's job. Yeah. And I was always like, but I'm not. Because they're not out touring.
I wonder if that rule will ever change. Kind of like the ACM thing.
I don't know, man. Those unions are strong.
They're tough.
They're tough
because it's always a New York, a Chicago,
Salt Lake City,
Salt Lake.
I'll tell you a story.
Yeah.
One time we were doing this commercial for Budweiser with FGL, and had no clue Salt Lake was like a big union town.
Really? I didn't know
That's
that.
where we were filming it. And so I guess somebody from the venue or something comes into one of the production offices, and we had all these gimbals set up. Like, and this was back in the day of the big handled Ronins.
Yeah.
And like we had all these cameras set up, and all of a sudden the Live Nation rep from the tour comes in, and she's like, are you guys filming today? Oh, God. And we're like, well, yeah. And we've had like crew fly out there.
Oh, no.
Like flights paid for, everything. And so we ended up having to just pay pay the union fee
like
or whatever.
$10,000
oh yeah,
or something
it was something
at least.
Stupid.
Yeah. Wow.
But they're like, well, everybody's already here. I guess we got to do it.
Wow. Did the beer company take care of it? Since it was probably them, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's interesting.
I'm not sure who paid for it.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
Right.
I'm not sure who did. Yeah.
Somebody did.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Somebody probably didn't have a job the next day.
Yeah. Maybe not.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It's like, every time I'm out on the road and I see New York dates or Chicago dates or LA dates, it's like I always have to hit up the, whatever tour manager is, on whatever tour I'm on at that point, and just be like, hey, just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Some of them forget. They're like, oh shit, that's right. We forgot about that.
That's another good thing, like good advice for new people is like, keep in mind that there are certain stipulations in certain cities. So you're better off to over communicate and ask your tour manager and ask your production manager. They can talk to the local people at the building 100%. And find out. And if you're not allowed to shoot video, now it used to upset me because I'm like, how is somebody I don't work for telling me not to do my job?
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, I take it as an opportunity where it's like, all right, great. Tonight I get to focus just on photography.
Yeah.
And like hone my skills more in that and make the most of it.
Yeah.
And like,
that's a good lesson, because I bet there's probably a lot of, even probably tour managers or production people that are new to this too.
Yeah, that may not even realize it.
Not even know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, because you have to be conscious of a union, because you can get busted or,
it's going to cost somebody a lot of money.
And you don't want to put that on, the tour that you're on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good thing. Ask the questions.
Yeah.
You're
feel better off to bug somebody by asking too often than not asking, and then all of a sudden somebody owes somebody $7,500 or $10,000.
I think the photographer and the videographer has a kind of a free pass of asking a lot of questions. And the reason why I say that is because we're the only one out there.
Dude, I was thinking about that on my way over here.
Right?
I was thinking about, like, if you were to ask me, like, what's one unique aspect of your job?
Yeah.
I was going to say,
like, there's an audio crew, there's a video crew, there's production, there's tour management. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a production office, and then it's us. And like, just you.
Right.
Which is that's a weird part of your job. Yeah. And it can, at times, I don't know how you are, but usually if there's space in a venue, I usually try to have my own room to myself.
100%.
I can just focus more. I can get more done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at times that can become like, I notice throughout the day, like I'll have to get up and like, I go say hey to the crew guys, or like pop in the band room or pop in the production office. Just to,
like I'm the lonely little photographer, videographer over here. How you guys doing today? Dude, totally.
It is an interesting thing.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like, most photographers and videographers out on the road, they don't have assistants. You know what I mean? It's like there's a tour manager assistant, there's a production assistant. It's like, what happens if you're in the field and you're shooting and you need a new card? You have to go get it.
Go get it.
You don't have an assistant to go run and grab it for you. It's like you're kind of you're the one man show basically. But it's damn cool though, isn't it?
It is. It's awesome.
It's so
and
much
I
fun.
kind of like I guess the independence, for lack of a better word, of that. Right. Of the fact that it's like you're the only one there doing that job.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool.
Yeah.
There's nobody else on the road that can really say that, I don't feel like.
The openers that were out with Jason last year, they had video guys, right?
Yes, Mitchell, it was Mitchell Tenpenny, and I feel like he had like random people. Like I don't think he has somebody full time.
Gotcha.
So unfortunately I didn't really get to know any of them. But then Corey Kent has a guy, why can I not think of his name? He's got a really interesting name.
I met him.
Starts with a T, I think. Templin.
Yes.
Templin. He's super cool.
He's cool.
Super nice guy.
I met him at Silver's Jewelry.
Okay,
thing at the Chop House.
He's like a little hustler too. Yeah. It was cool to watch him because he would, like, Silver would pay him to come shoot silver sets each night. Yeah. Which, like, people were like, why don't you do that and like make the extra money? And I'm like, well, like, that's fine, but like I want to make sure I'm available for the people I'm working for. So like, I don't want to be tied up doing that, and then I miss a text message or something, and I'm supposed to be somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's fun to like let the guy that's with the opener, let the guy that's with the opener like go do that, and like get that experience.
Yeah,
it's
exactly,
cool.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that. He was great, man. He was really cool. We had a quick conversation at that party thing that Silver had. And,
yeah.
You know, we started following each other on Instagram, and it's like, dude, we got to go out and grab coffee or something.
Yeah.
Chit chat about everything.
Yeah, he's super nice.
He was great. Yeah, it was super great. So Aldean tour again this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excited?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Is it the same production?
We're doing the same thing as far as I know this year.
Gotcha.
I think we're doing more festivals this year.
Yeah.
Which festivals can take their toll after enough of them, especially if the weather is not cooperating.
Oh man.
Always take your rain boots. Always take your rain gear.
I know.
On festival
days.
But
it can make for some of the coolest shots.
But yes. Yes. Like,
give me some bad weather, man.
Epic,
it could look really cool.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So we're doing more of that, and then I think we're continuing the tour from last year.
Yeah,
it's the same.
It's great. It's such a great show.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's just hit after hit after hit after hit, and you're just like, man,
it's crazy.
It's so great. I just love seeing that, that part of the career, where you could go to a show and it's just, every single song.
Every song.
Yeah, so cool, man.
It's so wild.
So, really quick, gear.
Yes.
As of right now.
What
are you using?
5D Mark IVs.
Gotcha.
Still.
Because you and I have talked a little bit about your upgrade.
I'm going to upgrade to the Canon mirrorless systems. But this is the reason I haven't yet, as I'm reading on the Canon rumor sites that there's new bodies coming out possibly in February.
No way.
Yeah. So I don't.
It's like, oh shit.
I know. You don't know?
No, I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if that's true. It's obviously just rumor sites, but I'm like, I'm notorious for like, I buy something and then the new thing comes out 2 weeks later. So I'm like, I am waiting this time. I'm just going to run these cameras I have into the ground. One of them is about to poop the bed.
Yeah.
But
it'll probably be like an R5 Mark II or something.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
With probably like 8K video or something, you never know.
Do you ever run into issues with like the camera overheating in video? I know it was like an early thing.
Not with the R5.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you know what? I take that back. It was the R5 with the 8K where it would only record for not too long, right? And then like it would just kind of like stop.
Yeah.
So then that's why they built the R5C, I feel like.
Okay.
Because it's got that built-in fan and it's kind of made more towards video.
Yeah.
With all the capabilities
you have
of
both,
R5.
right?
Yeah.
Do you
the one right here, that's the one that's shooting VR.
Yeah.
That's the R5C. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you, like, when you shoot video on the road, do you take that or do you just take the
I
R5s?
take it. I use just the R5s, but I have that with me just in case.
Okay.
If I want to put that out at like front of house or something just to capture the show, or whatever. But I do take the reds out too.
Yeah.
It's just the reds. I'm a huge fan of the reds.
Yeah.
I'm loyal to them. Yeah, no.
Jason's TM just got a red.
Really?
He just texted me yesterday. He's like, dude, I can't wait to show you this red. I was like, please do.
Yeah. Well, I wonder which one you got.
I don't know.
That's wild.
I would assume a Komodo.
Because probably, yeah.
Which
the Komodos are great. Man.
I've heard.
They're great for like the
what
travel.
Are these?
Got camera. My camera's a Komodo. Your camera's a Komodo. That one's a Helium. And then obviously the R5C doing the VR. The VR camera is kind of like future-proofing this podcast. You never know. We could probably like put out a VR version of it.
Yeah.
So it's all 3D.
So it's just like dual lens?
Yeah. Isn't that wild? It looks like somebody's just looking at you.
Yeah. Like a creepy little animal or something.
Right. Exactly.
So that's crazy. So then somebody can put goggles on and like look around the room?
Yeah, it's like it's not a 360, but it's a 180. So the cool thing is it's almost like a 3D thing. It's pulling you off the wall right now. It's not giving you like this flat image. So it's like it's almost like somebody could just sit there when they're watching with goggles on. It's like they're just sitting in the room with you.
That's crazy.
But there's a depth thing that's happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like they could see you, but the wall is.
Are you going to edit that in? I guess you
so.
can.
I'm gonna try.
You
can. No, you can. Oh yeah, yeah. I'll put it in the timeline, and if I have to cut anything into the podcast or out of the podcast,
yeah,
then I'll just cut it with that too. But just have a VR version just down the line. You just never know.
Yeah.
Why not future proof
idea.
it? You know? I think it actually would look pretty cool.
Yeah. But that'd be an awesome way if you watch podcasts.
Yeah.
That'd be an awesome way to watch it.
Or even just like a clip, not the whole thing. You know, maybe we use like a 2-minute per piece of it or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Do you have a VR set?
I've got one of those MetaQuests.
You do?
Yeah. But now that Apple's got that Vision thing coming out.
I know.
I think it comes out in like 2 days or something.
Yeah. It's out curious. Soon. I'm not going to lie to you. I watched a review on it yesterday. And the guy was not thrilled with it. Really? Yeah.
I've heard.
And especially at the price tag.
Yeah.
Because you can go get a Quest or whatever it's called now for, I don't know how much they are, but they're not $3,500.
Yeah. When I heard too that like, is it YouTube or Netflix or something and Spotify aren't even making apps for it yet?
Really?
Yeah. Which is kind of...
That's surprising.
Yeah. But I think it's kind of like a computer too, right?
Yeah. Well, it has like, I guess you can do like the spatial computing.
Yeah.
But that was one of the guy's complaints is like in the spatial computing, like let's say you have something over here and you want to move it over here. Your eyes are getting tracked by cameras.
Right.
So you have to look over there to like grab it.
Gotcha.
And then move it. But he was like making the comparison about how like your mouse is not, I don't remember how he explained it. He just said it basically didn't feel intuitive to like constantly be having to look around at different things.
Interesting.
But
I'd be curious to kind of try it out and see.
I definitely
because when they announced that last year, I was like, oh my God, dude, this is going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
And maybe it is.
I think it will.
You know, I mean, I feel like that was kind of like the same thing with the iPad.
Yes.
Like, they're coming out with an iPad. What is that?
Yeah.
And now it's like iPads are used everywhere.
Yeah. I would love it for just to watch movies,
right?
To like feel like I'm sitting in front of like 100-foot screen.
Yeah. And the new iPhone 15 shoots spatial video now.
Really?
Yeah. They added that feature back, I think either at the end of December or beginning of January, where you could actually like turn your camera on video and it gives a headphone thing and you push it and it's actually shooting spatial video. So you could watch it in the Vision and you could look around.
No way.
Yeah, you see that what you shot is a full wraparound.
That's
or something.
crazy.
Yeah. Which would be interesting to see.
And supposedly Apple said they were, don't quote me on this, but the guy was saying that Apple said they're not that interested in VR as they are in like augmented reality.
Yeah.
So that would make sense where you're like holding your phone, but then you don't have to move your phone to see. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then when you take panoramic photos on the phone or something, then you could like
look around it.
Look all the way around. It's like wrapped around you.
That's crazy.
I know. I can't wait to see it. It's like when they announced it, I'm like, I'm gonna buy one. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna buy one.
I mean, I will say from a hardware,
then I'm gonna buy one.
From a hardware standpoint, it looks badass.
Yeah. Because I'm wondering, you know, I mean, that kind of comes back to us. Maybe that's something that's a game changer.
Yeah.
What if we do shoot shows and recap videos in like a VR situation, that there's a version to watch it in Apple headset thing, Vision?
That'd be awesome.
I mean, what an experience that would be.
For the person that can't go to the concert?
Yeah. I mean, they do have the VR that you could watch, but it's just not as crisp, man. It's very pixelated, I feel like. Every time I'm watching something on YouTube in like a 360, it's not, I wish it could be just clearer. Yeah. You know?
So there's VR concerts out there already?
Oh, yeah.
I've never watched one.
It's wild.
I don't have a headset, though.
It's wild because you just place a 360 cam in the middle of the room and you're just sitting there with them as they're playing. It's crazy.
No way.
Yeah.
So that's all they do to make that happen? They just put a 360 camera?
Yeah. Yeah. I've shot some 360 stuff on some of the shows.
Really?
Yeah, we hung a 360 camera off of, Carrie did a thing in the show where she would be in this ball thing and she did this acrobatic thing and it went from one side of the arena to the other side and it would drop her down and they let me mount GoPros And one time I did a 360 cam up there.
Oh,
And you're literally,
so sick.
it looks like you're just sitting on top of the thing as the whole arena is just moving, and you're just looking around. It's the wildest
I bet
perspective.
that's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's like, I wish that the technology was a little bit more ahead on that, where it could be a little more crisp looking, you know, and especially in a concert environment. And GoPro cameras are just really tough to shoot concert stuff because it's such low lit, you know? But the technology is crazy.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you.
What's up?
So this is a question that I'm asking everybody.
Okay.
You ready for it?
Yeah. I'm so curious right now.
Shit, dude. It's not that bad. But it's interesting because everybody's different. So if you had one camera and one lens to take out on the road for 3 days, what would it be? That's all you get to shoot with the whole weekend.
Lens, I would go 50 mil prime.
Gotcha.
And photo, video, both, anything?
Photo, video, whatever you do. You do both, so.
I'd probably just have one of the new Canons and a 50.
And a 50. That's wild, dude.
Yeah. What's everybody else's answer?
I know, right?
Yeah.
What was it? Katie said, she said an R5 and a 50. Yeah. Like a 1.2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my favorite lens, dude.
Dude, that thing's a beast.
It's just awesome. It's a workhorse, and it's just
that's probably one of my most favorite prime. That one and an 85.
Yeah.
And John Shearer said the Leica Q3.
Leica,
Yeah, no, you know him. So he's like, and I keep saying this in the podcast, but it's like, his explanation is great though about the Q3 because it's discreet. It's small.
Yeah, very
It's
true.
not like making a lot of noise.
Yeah.
You know, there's not like big flashes happening off of it and stuff like that. He picks off these moments because of that little camera.
Yeah.
But and then who else?
Rachel said 16 to 35.
Yeah, that was wild, right?
Really interesting.
Yeah, Rachel Deeb said
I
16
do
to 35.
love the 16 to 35
Right?
too. But
Yeah.
the 50 to me is like,
It's just
it's
so
so
clean. So clean, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine would be an R5 and a 28 or 24 to 70.
yeah.
You know, I feel like because it's just diverse, you know, and like, you know, doing video and photo, you know, but that 50, dude, it's a good looking lens, man.
The R5 has in-body stabilization, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not take a Mark IV with a 50 if I was shooting handheld.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be so shaky.
Dude, I can't wait for you to get an R5. Dude.
I know.
Or whatever is next.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy the laptop first and then just buy one R5 body.
Yeah.
And I'll probably I looked at the 24 to 70 and then what's the other one? 28?
The 28 to 70.
But that's like giant.
And that's the 2.0.
Do you like it better?
I
It's
love
just so
it, dude.
big.
I love it. It's heavy.
Do you shoot it more than the 20?
I do.
The 24 to 70?
I do. I tend to sometimes when the shows are short, or if they're like, if an artist is only doing like 30 minutes or something, I'll have a 28 to 70 on one body, and then I'll have a 70 to 200 on another body, and then I'll take like an R5C for video and put a 24 to 70 because I have the 28 to 70 2.0 and then I have the 24 to 70 2.8.
Yeah.
So I'll put the 2.8 on the video, and then I'll keep the 28 to 70 for photos. It's just something, man, that it's just clean. It's so clean. And especially for concert stuff, bringing in all that light, you know, at the 2.0, it's so good.
Dude, that is one thing I cannot wait to have in-body stabilization.
Yeah. Game changer. Total game changer.
And
but the only thing is, well, and you know what? I mean, the R5 with the 28 to 70, the 28 to 70 is not IS. So, but using the image stabilization built into the camera with the 28 to 70, there is a little bit of a warble effect that's happening because the camera is trying to compensate for that lens and movement.
The 28 to 70 does not have IS?
No. Mm-mm.
And the 24 to 70 does?
Yeah. Yep.
And if you're redundant, like if you have IS in the lens and then in the body, is it just like
kill it in the body? Yeah, kill it in the body.
Really?
Yeah. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
you know, just because you're not getting that warble effect. I feel like
so if you turn them both on, it's going to be, gotcha.
Yeah, you still get it. But if you have IS on the lens, kill it in the body.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
good to know.
That's kind of like what I do. Just because, you know, when you're playing something back or you're editing something, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of got this like little weird movement that's happening, trying to compensate for each other.
I can't wait to be back on mirrorless cameras.
Yeah. Dude, I can't wait for you to get. I can't wait
I
to see
shot
what you
Sony
get,
for a couple years, and then I shot Fuji for a couple years.
Yeah.
I've just gone through the gamut.
Yeah.
And it's way nicer, I feel like.
I tried to go the Sony route for a second.
Did you like it?
It was like the A7R2 or something, or A7R3 or something.
That's
like
what I did. The A7R3.
I don't know. I guess using Canon and Red the whole time.
The color to me was a little, and I know guys that kill it with the Sony.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not a capable camera. They're great cameras. It was just for me, color wise, I just didn't love the color science.
Well, and that's the great thing about cameras and everybody. It's personal preference.
Yeah.
What you like.
And all the tools can do the job.
Yeah. And everybody's different.
Yeah.
You know, that's the great thing about our job. You know what I mean? It's like everybody has a different perspective.
Yep. Have you shot Fuji at all?
I haven't.
Those were my favorite.
Really?
Yes.
It's funny. I did a little bit of research on it recently that I was like, man, it would be kind of cool to have a Fuji camera out on the road. I would love to have a film one out on the road.
I'm even considering getting like just a little, like something 100F or something. Just like one of their point and shoot with like a fixed lens.
Yeah.
When I shot them back in the day, I will say they were terrible for video. Like for what we do, I feel like after going through all the different cameras, I feel like Canon is probably the best for the versatility between the two and
I agree.
Switching between the two.
Yeah.
But dude, the color science out of the Fuji
really
was so epic. And I think it's because they were a film company.
Yeah.
And even like built into the camera, they have all these like film presets, I guess.
Yeah.
I forget what they call them, but like, they're like film presets you can put on there. And they're so convincing.
Really?
Yes.
I
Like,
have to check that out.
They're really cool, man.
I do want to get like a cool little Fuji out on the road that I could just kind of, you know.
They're really cool.
I've got that Leica Q2 and I love it.
Yeah.
But I just, you know, I absolutely love it. But I don't use it as much.
Right.
Because I always find myself like, I need to shoot video too.
Right.
Just like it's not as quick as the Canon.
Right.
You know
I feel like Canon's been good about, I feel like Sony kind of came up like Rory Kramer, who came up earlier in that era, like Sam Holder and all them. Sam Colder, whatever. What's his name? Sam Colder?
Sam Colder.
Colder.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they kind of blew up like during that area of like the travel vlogger.
Yeah.
But more geared towards video.
Right.
And then like, I feel like Nikon has been more like photo. Yeah. And Canon somehow I feel like has like learned to really mesh the two.
Yeah. Kind of
and like blend together on just the versatility is like,
there is some Sony footage that I see out there that is really good.
Yeah, same.
Beautiful stuff. It's just not my preference.
Yeah.
You know, we've been talking about this FX3 cinema thing, and I'm just like, oh man, I go there, you know, and use it just for video.
Did you ever have any of the Sony C, like the cinema cameras?
No.
No. They were, I carried one of those for a while.
Yeah.
The C100 back in the day, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Really good camera, but only video.
Yeah. Their Cineline's great.
Stills.
I mean, obviously, huge films and music videos are shot with the Venice and Venice 2 and all that, you know? I mean, beautiful. Super beautiful. They know what's up, you know? So,
that's a great question.
The one lens, one camera.
Yeah.
It's challenging, right?
I can't wait to go listen and hear what everybody says.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun because it's like, that's the challenge of like being a photographer, videographer. It's like, man, you're just given one camera, one lens for the weekend.
Yeah.
What is it? You know?
And 50 was like my initial thought. And then I was like, well, maybe a zoom, so I have more versatility. But then I'm like, nah, I'm going to go with the 50.
I can see that.
My legs work.
Yeah. Human zoom in and out, you know?
Yeah. But a zoom is smart too.
Right.
That's smart. Like,
So if we'll kind of wrap up a little bit here, but if you had like any advice, you know, through your career, you know, what you've done, because you've been doing this for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
You know, 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
People that want to get into this, what would you tell them?
I would say first and foremost, like you said, just be cool and the reality is what we do for a living this is advice that I was given years ago. And I think this goes for kind of everybody across the board, especially like band guys and photo guys. What we do, we're close, like we work directly with the artist a lot. Mm-hmm. So I think be cool and be a good hang. Like the majority of our job is not pointing a camera and clicking it. Mm-hmm. That's obviously our skill set and that's like what we get paid for. But the reality is like we're hanging out a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're not a good hang, like you could be the greatest photographer on planet Earth, but if you suck as a human being, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out.
Yeah.
So I think just be mellow, be cool. And I think it's okay, first and foremost, to admit that what we do is really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And embrace that. Like I think I went through a period of time early on in my career where it was like, admittedly, like you try to act too cool, like, oh, I'm not impressed by this. But it's like, that's the other thing is just be yourself. Like it's okay to think it's cool.
Yeah.
You don't have to like prove to anybody.
Right.
Like if you're, if you get to meet a certain somebody or something and it's like, don't act too cool. Like if you have the opportunity to meet them and you think it's cool, be like, man, this is awesome that I get to meet you.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal. Like just be yourself and be chill, be cool, and bus etiquette.
Yeah.
As we touched on earlier, is a huge one.
Yeah, it is.
Understand your bus etiquette. And if you don't know, ask somebody. That's the other thing. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to go in the production office. That's an intimidating thing right when you start, especially if you're an opener on a tour. It's kind of intimidating to walk into this production office and everybody's going to look at you like, what the hell are you doing here?
Right.
But just ask your question and then move along.
Yep.
And I think, and have fun, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the process too, and edit what you shoot.
Yeah.
I learned that from Monaco years ago.
Yep.
Because I was just shooting and then giving it to somebody else to edit. Never knew what I was shooting.
Yeah.
In the moment I did, but 500 or 1,000 photos later in a show, now I don't see them, and now I don't know what I got.
Yeah.
So I think that's when I started to really learn, like, okay, this looks good, this doesn't.
Yeah.
And then eventually I got to like, well, here's why this looks good and why this doesn't.
It makes you shoot differently too.
It absolutely does. Yeah.
Yep. Dude, I'm so glad that you came out here.
Dude, thanks for having me.
This was
fun.
We got to get our dogs together too.
Yes, we do. We both have wiener dogs.
If nobody knows, we both do have wiener dogs.
And we got them
awesome. We got
right around the same time.
Yeah. They're COVID puppies.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Camo and Kunu.
That's right. Dude, thanks you,
Jeff.
man. This was dope, dude. Seriously. Thank you, brother.
Bunch of fun.
Yeah, man.
To wrap on the Road Unfiltered with Mr. Jeff Johnson.